Well, here we are again, viewers. I figured I'd just give you a little bit of a chance to get familiar with some Fanatec gear. I focused in a lot on this track racer setup, and it's doing just fine. I mean, just a bunch of aluminum bits. They managed to get it to me. And all's well that ends well there, but you know, the second most expensive part, or really the most expensive part out of this whole thing, is the Fanatec stuff. You know, what's it all about? What happens when you get it? When do you get it? How much does it cost? What do you have to have with it? Why the hell do you have to have so many gloves? What's it all about? So let's get into it. We're down here in the dungeon again. You see, I got everything set up for kind of doing my thing, live streaming and video gaming for the kids and stuff like that. Got another old computer that I'm working on, throwing some parts in. But here we have what you get in your wheelbase. Now obviously they start you off at 150, your heartbeat, 160, 170, 180. Oh goodness. Fanatec really knows how to treat you. I mean, they're putting in all the little extra goodies and stuff. Let me show you this. You get your little pedal extensions right here. I've got two of them on there for the brake and the clutch, or the brake and the gas. It decreases your leg arch angle. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but as you push your leg forward, it kind of arches and swings down. And because the pedals, you see, it puts it forward. That way when you're all the way down here, especially on the gas, that's the one that really made a huge change. And of course the brake too, because you're using it mostly a lot more than the clutch. And the clutch is kind of a little slap kind of a pedal. It's used very quickly while you're racing. So get over to the Formula steering wheel. I am an artist indeed. Oh wait, let's see. Ooh, indeed it is. My very favoriteest of canvases. Canvi, is that how you do that? And the car is my brush, yes. Yeah, I don't do unboxing videos. I put stuff together to make sure it works and that my money is well spent, test it out a little bit, and then I'll tell you exactly how I feel about it. Designed in Germany, made in China. No surprises there. They have massive amounts of manufacturing. So as you can see, everything from Fanatec shows up. Nice boxes. All groovy, sexy. V3 pedals. If you're not rocking those, you should probably try. They're incredible. The build quality. This is some Gucci shit. So, as you can see, everything's glorious about the build. Kind of fit right in onto the plate there. I can move it around, do whatever I need to do. The steering wheel. The steering wheel is so freaking complex that most of the games that I have, as a matter of fact, every game that I have, which includes those games, both Assetto Corsas, F1 2020, that's the Deluxe Schumacher Edition, and then Dirt Rally 2.0. And of course I got Gran Turismo Sport on the PlayStation. None of them have all the support for all the buttons and controls on that wheel. None of them have any support whatsoever or even recognize the existence of this paddle here. So this is basically the Israel paddle. We just simply don't fucking recognize you. This one right here works great. The bottom paddles are analog. They're fucking gold anodized. Little sexy beast down here. It's a progressive rate paddle rather than a click. But absolutely amazing. The whole thing works great. It feels great. Great segue into what the hell the gloves are for. You're not in a real racing car, jackass. You're not racing a car. Well, okay, fine. But the steering wheel you're seeing there is well over $500. By the time you get it done with the right stuff. Now, I don't have the advanced podium hub for it yet, but I did add the advanced podium paddle module. The key factor to remember here is that the grips are Alcantara, and it's like real copyright. It's the real deal. Same shit you get in a Ferrari, which means if you touch it, you're ruining it with your greasy, filthy peasant hands. So, to protect this Italian-made glory, you must pair it with a fetching pair of gloves. I choose OMP because it blends very nicely with my shoes. You can probably find cheaper options, but I got a great deal on the shoes, so the gloves just seem like a good fit. Yeah, you're not going to get a whole lot of support out of the buttons on this wheel. You'll get a lot, and on, let's see, on Assetto Corsa Competizione, middle one up there, the new one, it supports everything except for the Israel paddles, and I don't know why. I don't know why. The LEDs, everything works, so we're all good there. I just wish, I hope that this is for like a upgraded kind of a deal, because really what I wanted to do was set the engine map to negative here, so as I'm shifting up in gear, I'm leaning out the mix. Oh my god, that's crazy. I'm clicking the paddles, look. Let me see if I can get that in shot. Oh, damn it. Here, check this out. Ha ha ha, I can move the screen too. Of course it doesn't work. Can't you get a good view on that? No, of course not. Ah, there it is. Either way, I think you can hear the clicking. Oh, no, don't fold backwards, dummy. There you go. Oh, it's terrible. Anyway, my email was going off because of the paddles. Why is that not showing up now? That is terrible. It's like one barely picture I can get out of it. You see that? You can hear that, I'm assuming. So yeah, I mean, you get certain controls that are just kind of crazy that you didn't... I think it's because I clicked emulate mouse on the firmware, so it's acting like a mouse now as well. And I know for a fact I can control the mouse with my little joystick down here now, because I'm watching it go crazy. But yeah, I mean, the wheel is incredible. The functionality is really good. It's just some of these games, just if there's so much there, they don't know what to do with this wheel. And there's so many functions on the wheel itself that you'll find yourself looking at your button boxes like, why? And then you start to realize, well, Jesus, I'm not a freaking superhero with all of these buttons compacted into one place. I'm either going to have to learn that really, really, really well, or apply some labels to the button boxes and just do it simple for secondary and like tertiary stuff, you know, stuff you wouldn't normally do with. So like you can see how that one's getting labeled up, you know, all the different little stuff. But yeah, the Fanatec stuff is just, it's so loaded. I can't help but think that later versions of the games are going to add in more functionality, and hopefully someday my little paddles here will come into play. But like I was saying, I was going to try to get the engine mapping where you're leaning it out as you're upshifting, and then you're richening it up as you're downshifting, so you're coming out of the hole with more power. And I thought that's kind of how you should be using those. But since they don't exist according to the game yet, I'll just have to wait. As far as the wheelbase, if you leave it on and just play hard, you'll hear the fans come on. They got some air to them. I don't really have much of a problem with that because I've got that driver cooling fan hanging out way down there that I can just kick on, and it puts the air right on you, and it's actually coming right up through all this. Plus you can see there's a set of server fans that I can kick on. And those guys add more than enough noise, but they also add the kind of cooling, like a circular air draw around the cockpit that really cools me and everything else off pretty quick. As far as wheelbases go, this is really my second one. My first one was $100, so how the hell do I know? Alls I know is that it's got plenty of strength. It feels really smooth. Every once in a while, it's like there's a resetting inside of it. It's weird. Being a pro auto tech, you feel cars under so many different kind of conditions where suddenly as you're turning, there's like this weird pop, or, you know what I mean? It's like a snag in the steering and you have to overcome it just by forcing it. It's not what this thing's doing, but at weird times you'll be coming back to center and then it will pop through the steering column. It's actually very realistic to real cars. It's almost like a, oh god, it's hard to describe. It's like an upper strut bearing assembly getting caught in the, or the spring, your strut spring popping in its pocket, or like a tie rod that's a little loose, or a ball joint or something that's clicking. It's weird. It's I don't know, but it does it. So whatever that means, I don't know. I don't think it's a failure. It doesn't feel like one. It just kind of feels like the steering on the car smacking, and it clicks the steering column, and it's a real loud click. You can feel it right through the steering wheel. But other than that, I mean, it turns on and off. It does its thing, and the quick connect is pretty cool. It's just like a racing one, really. This little set screw here, you just kind of tighten that down. Usually I don't have it very tight at all, so it just kind of keeps working its way loose a little bit. So you know, because you got to take that out to get the wheel off, because it goes right down through the wheel hub. I guess there's people that experience problems with like looseness or something, and I mean, I could shake the whole goddamn machine, but I'm not getting any looseness out of my steering column. Maybe these dudes are really driving hard enough to beat this thing to death, but so far as I know, no looseness problems. And no expert here, man. This is my first one, so don't take my word for it. If there's some kind of issue out there known, I'm not experiencing it. Down to the shifter. That shifter I almost didn't get. It's expensive to me. Most cars that you're racing will look. I'm surprised I don't have little pop-up machine guns that somebody cuts me off, that like I just push a button and my steering wheel fucking gets wings out of it and starts shooting shit at people. You know what I mean? Modern cars have paddle shift, and you can set damn near every one of them to it. And as a matter of fact, I think there's some racing leagues where those are not allowed just because they're quicker. I don't even know how. But when driving, holy shit. I didn't really recognize what it was like to drive, because I've never driven a racing car. I've only driven like regular cars, so you're kind of taking your time, and you're not trying to run up everybody's ass, or you know, you mow down every single corner. Certainly not like a race car. Using that shifter and those pedals is freaking amazing. I find myself driving those kind of cars, like the old Le Mans, you know, Porsche 962s and the BMWs and all of that stuff. Like a Lotus 49 is just freaking incredible, and that shifter makes it more realistic. Bottom line, that thing is just great. Well worth the money. I know when you're ordering this stuff, it just tags it on and the price goes up and you're like, oh my god. Don't worry, the shipping's only, you know, not very high, because it's worth it. Get that shifter. When it comes to the handbrake, it's kind of a toss-up. The handbrake that's right above my shifter from Fanatec was pretty damned expensive. But for the shifter there with the nice little aluminum anodized handle, and it's actually a progressive rate, it's an analog signal coming out of it, it was $80 from eBay. And it works. The only thing it doesn't work with is tying in with the Fanatec stuff directly, right alongside of it, like as part of the same package. So it doesn't plug into the Fanatec. Neither one of them know each other at parties and stuff like that. I mean, it's just that's the way it is. So when you go into the PlayStation, obviously it doesn't really transfer, because I've got that little hot swapper that takes it out from the Fanatec side to whichever computer or PlayStation I'm playing on. Excuse me. And it works great. That thing works super smooth. So does the HDMI splitter. It's just a push button while you're sitting there kind of deal. You could do it all. And because I got that controller there, I can turn the PlayStation on, and now it's decided to recognize the Fanatec stuff as a controller that exists. At first it just didn't. But then I must have gotten something right, and it started recognizing it every time, even when that controller was in use. So I could do liveries and all kinds of stuff. Basically everything I need to do, I can do it from just sitting down in the old seat here. So, but as far as the Fanatec stuff goes, if you're looking for a step up, it's a huge step up. I don't know, because I haven't really played with any other Thrustmaster stuff. They were definitely on the list. But by the time I got done watching a lot of these other guys that were doing this stuff hardcore, Fanatec was just the word on everybody's mouth. It seems like the really super hardcore guys are going with these custom-made direct drive setups that you don't even know, that you can't barely say the name of the parts they're using. And I guess Heusenfeld, that's the only way I could think to pronounce it. It looks like Heusinkveld, actually. It's weird. It's European. It's got a totally European vibe. So if you want some more expensive stuff, it's out there, but I cannot believe how good this Fanatec stuff feels to drive. Obviously, I got the little Stream Deck mount off the side of it from eBay. Sexied it up a little bit, and that thing is super fun to use. I don't use it very much because I'm not full bore into the streaming thing yet, but I'm still gonna figure out how to do it on SimHub, which is another really cool piece of software that ties together my iPad as a dashboard display and map display to the game. So the iPad goes to the same internet somewhere and picks up the signal and gives me all the gauge and dash info and like the map location and all this cool stuff, and keeps it out of my face and off the screen. Right, it's so amazing. It's kind of stuff they told us about when we were kids. And if you're wondering why I keep referring to stuff like that, it's well, if you know what an Apple II GS is, raise your hands, because that's where I started. If you know what a 28.8 modem connection felt like, then, well, raise your hand, because you know what I've been through. When you get to stuff like this, it's a fucking rocket ship. So yeah, everything's working good. I would have to say that suggesting Fanatec stuff, absolutely. If you're taking a real step up, and you know, they had some kits that were really solid. You get a steering wheel, the right bass, and a decent set of pedals for like $600-800, and that's not a bad deal to start with, because I think one of the more critical parts is this CSL Elite wheelbase. If you started there and got whatever wheel they sent you, I'm pretty sure you could function really well. Because to be honest with you, driving this thing on rally or anywhere you're going to drift, or really when you're using this shifter, you're only using your left hand. It's not like a button pushing frenzy. So you're going to want to actually... I'm looking for another wheel. Let's just put it that way. I want a secondary wheel that I can pop on for the old school shit and get my drift on and whatever, because it'll be a lot easier with a round wheel. That wheel is a piece of technical precision, amazing. But for the driving purposes, outside of a GT car, Formula car, that kind of thing, that wheel's got its limitations, and it includes finger soreness, huge amounts of it. So definitely smart to take a look at like the base with a regular wheel, maybe work up to one of these. The pedals, I'd have to say absolutely, I'd buy those any day of the week. Me and those pedals have a thing. And the shifter, we're like a threesome now. And that's why I can accept the wheel, you know, with all of his flaws. But that's Fanatec stuff. And if you're interested in picking it up, I would say do it. Definitely. I'm not getting any money out of it. I had to pay my money and get in line like everybody else. And as far as I'm concerned, it was worth it. So, rock out, kids.